Muhammad Tewfik Pasha, also known as Tawfiq of Egypt, was Khedive of Egypt and the Sudan between 1879 and 1892 and the sixth ruler from the Muhammad Ali dynasty. Early life. He was the eldest son of Khedive Ismail, and was born on November 15, 1852. His mother was Princess Shafi Kenua. He was not sent to Europe to be educated like his younger brothers, but grew up in Egypt. In 1866 Ismail succeeded in his endeavor to alter the order of succession to the Khedivate of Egypt. The title, instead of passing to the eldest living male descendant of Muhammad Ali, was now to descend from father to son. Ismail sought this alteration mainly because he disliked his uncle, Halim Pasha, who was his heir presumptive, and he had imagined that he would be able to select whichever of his sons he pleased for his successor. But he found, after the change had been made, that the great powers interpreted the new arrangement as applying strictly to the eldest son. Tewfik therefore became heir apparent. He was given a palace near Cairo to live in, and for 12 years he passed an uneventful life, farming, and establishing a reputation for good sense and fair dealing with his fellow tenants. Marriage. In Cairo on 15 January 1873 he married Princess Emad Ilhami, daughter of Damid Ibrahim Ilhami Pasha, and wife Nazrin Kadeen. Life. In 1878 he was appointed president of the council after the dismissal of Nubar Pasha. He held this office only for a few months, but this was long enough to show that, if he was unambitious and not particularly intelligent or energetic, he had the wisdom to refrain from taking a part in the intrigues which then formed the chief part of political life in Egypt and Sudan. He went back to his estate, and settled down once more to a quiet country life. He was undisturbed only for a short time. On 26 June 1879, Ismail, at the insistence of Britain and France, was deposed by the Sultan, who sent orders at the same time that Tewfik should be proclaimed Khedive. Reign. The new Khedive was so displeased by the news of his accession that he soundly boxed the ears of the servant who first brought the tidings to him. Egypt and Sudan at that time was involved in financial and political troubles brought about by the policy of Ismail, and the situation was made worse by the inaction of Britain and France for some months following Tewfik's accession. Tewfik's people were dissatisfied, his army disaffected, his advisors were nearly all of the adventurer class, with their own ends to gain, and he himself had neither the character of a strong ruler nor the experience that would have enabled him to secure an orderly administration of affairs. Disorder prevailed until November 1879, when the dual control was re-established by the governments of Britain and France. For over 2 years Major Evelyn Baring, Mr. Auckland Colvin, and Monsieur de Bliniers practically governed the country, endeavoring to institute reforms while possessing no means of coercion. During all this time the disaffection in the Egyptian army was increasing. Tewfik had been blamed for his failure to take a firm line with the rebels, but his attitude was governed by his relations with Britain and France, and he was unable to control events. The dissatisfaction culminated in the anti-foreign movement headed by Urabi Pasha, who had gained complete command of the army. In July 1882 the attitude of Urabi, who was carrying out defensive works on a large scale, made the British admiral to declare that he would bombard the forts of Alexandria unless they were handed over to him. Before the bombardment began it was suggested to Tewfik that he should leave the city and embark either upon a man-of-war belonging to one of the neutral powers, or in his own yacht, or in a mail steamer which was then in the port. His answer was, "I am still Khedive, and I remain with my people in the hour of their danger." At his palace of Qasrlraml, 3 miles from the town, he was beyond reach of the shells, but his life was nevertheless imperiled. When the rebel soldiers attacked the palace he managed to make his escape and to reach another palace after passing through the burning streets of Alexandria. Here he was obliged to agree that a guard of British bluejackets should protect him from further risk. He showed his courage equally during the cholera epidemic at Alexandria in 1883. He had gone back to Cairo after the Battle of Tel al-Kabir, had consented to the reforms insisted upon by Britain, and had assumed the position of a constitutional ruler under the guidance of Lord Dufferin, the British Special Commissioner. When cholera broke out, he insisted upon going to Alexandria. His wife accompanied him, and he went round the hospitals, setting an excellent example to the authorities of the city, and encouraging the patients by kind and hopeful words. In 1884, Sir Evelyn Baring went back to Egypt as diplomatic agent and consul general of Britain. His first task was to demand that Tewfik should abandon the Sudan. Tewfik gave his consent with natural reluctance, but, having consented, he did everything he could to ensure the success of the policy which Baring had been sent to carry out. He behaved with equal propriety during the negotiations between Sir H. Drummond Wolff and the Turkish envoy, Tewfik Pasha, in 1886. The Sultan was his suzerain. In Britain he recognized his protector. To the representative of each he endeavored to show friendliness and esteem. As time went on his confidence in Baring increased, until at last he deferred to the British agent in almost everything. On occasion, however, he acted on his own initiative, as when in June 1888 he dismissed Nubar Pasha and summoned Riaz Pasha to form a ministry. An action influenced, nevertheless, by Tewfik's knowledge of the divergence of views between Nubar and the British agent. Baring encouraged Tewfik to show his activity in matters of administration, and he took a great interest in all matters connected with irrigation, education and justice. He was not an imposing man, but he showed a genuine desire to govern his country for its own benefit. He understood the importance to Egypt of British assistance and support. His natural shrewdness made him accept the British conditions. His natural good feeling kept him from any inclination to intrigue. In private life he was courteous and amiable. He had no desire to keep up the unapproachable state of an Oriental ruler. Indeed, in many ways his manners and habits were less Oriental than European. He married in 1873 his kinswoman, Emma Ilhami, with whom he lived very happily. She was his only wife, and Tewfik was a strong advocate of monogamy. Death. He died on the 7th of January 1892, at the Helwyn Palace near Cairo, and was succeeded by his eldest son, Abbas II. Issue. By his wife he had the following children: Princess Nesli bint Muhammad Hanum, Abbas II Hilmi Bey, Khedive of Egypt and Sudan. Prince Muhammad Ali Tewfik, married on the 25th of November 1941, to Suzanne Heeman, without issue. Princess Hadisi Hanum, married in Istanbul on the 31st of January 1895 to Prince Muhammad Abbas Salim Pasha, and had issue. H. Glory Nabila Vidajlan Halim, married to Negwi Morali, without issue. H. Glory Nabila Kerima Halim Hanum Effendi, married firstly at Constantinople, Beşiktaş Palace, on the 26th of March 1920 and divorced in 1932 her cousin Prince Seyzade Osman IV Fuad, 41st head of the Imperial House of Turkey between 1954 and 1973, without issue, and married secondly in Cairo on the 4th of June 1934 to Prince Yusuf Kemal Pasha, without issue. H. Glory Nabila Emin Halim Hanum Effendi, married firstly at Constantinople, Nisantasai Palace, on the 4th of June 1919 and divorced in 1923 her cousin Prince Seyzade Abdurrahim Hayri, and had female issue, married secondly in Berlin on the 28th of May 1925 Kemileddin Sami Pasha, without issue. Married thirdly in Halki on the 10th of October 1936 and divorced in 1937 Nabil Omar Said Halim, without issue, and married fourthly Sabri Bey, without issue. H. Glory Nabila Tewfika Halim, married in Istanbul on the 11th of September 1919 to Abbas Selaloglu, and had issue. Sankar Selologlu, married to H. Glory Nabila Ulfat Emin Osman, and had issue. Rukia Selologlu, unmarried and without issue. H. Glory Nabila Nimatullah Halim, married in Istanbul on 27 August 1931 to Ahmed Selologlu. Without issue. H. Glory Nabila Zeneb Halim, married in Helwan on 2 April 1931 and divorced in 1932. Hasan Hassan Mohsen, without issue. Princess Nimatullah Muhammad Hanum, married firstly in Cairo on 8 January 1896 and divorced in 1903. Muhammad Selol Tewfik Pasha, created HH in 1902 but deprived of the title in 1931, and had issue, and married secondly in Cairo on 5 May 1904 to Prince Kamal el-Din Hussein, without issue. Nabil Adel Tewfik Pasha, married firstly in Cairo in 1924 to Emin Sabre, and had issue, and married secondly in Cairo on 29 June 1926 to Negib Moheb, without issue. Nabil Muhammad Tewfik Tusaun, lecturer at the University of California, unmarried and without issue. Honors: Order of Honor, Imtiaz Medal, 1868. Order of the Osmans, Nishan-i Osmania, 1868. Order of Nobility, 1868. Grand Cross of the Order of Asa, 1868. Knight Grand Commander of the Order of the Star of India, 1875. Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Order of Kalakauri, 1881. Grand Cross of the Order of Saints Maurice and Lazarus, 1886. Grand Cross of the Order of Franz Joseph, 1886. Knight Grand Cross of the Order of the Bath, 1887. Grand Cross of the Order of the Netherlands Lion, 1890. Grand Cross of the Legion d'Honneur, 1890. Knight of the Order of the Seraphim, 1891.